walked through the darkest valley. I was lost, couldn't find my way. But then I heard him from within, he who died for my sins. He spoke my name, then I saw his face. Yes, I've seen his eternity.
Hi everybody, been a while since I've seen you all. Thought I'd come on and let you know what's coming up. I'm going to be reading a book here starting next week called Max Lucado. In the eye of the storm, he still moves stones and a general thunder. This book is pretty thick, so it'll last us for a long while. A friend of mine named Lisa sent it to me, and thank you so much, Lisa, for sending it to me so I'd have something to read to y'all. Everybody seems to love his books, so I will be trying to read it every day, Monday through Friday. Not sure what time I'm going to put it out yet. But once I get in the habit, you'll find me. It won't be early like the other ones was because it's summer now and I do have kids at home. So you have to give me a little time to get adjusted to where I can have a quiet house to do it instead of kids in the background or TV's going or radio's going or all the good stuff. So, but I thought I would read this one to you before. It's a little tiny story in front of the book. It's called, you're supposed to read it before you begin. So, I'm going to read it to you because I thought it was awful cute. Alrighty. It goes, Chippy the parakeet never saw it coming. 1 second he was peacefully perched in his cage. The next he was sucked in, washed up, and blown over. The problem began when Chippy's owners decided to clean Chippy's cage with a vacuum cleaner. She removed the attachment from the end of the hose and sucked it in the cage. The phone rang. She turned to pick it up. She barely said hello when Chippy got sucked in. The bird owner gasped, put the phone down, turned off the vacuum cleaner, and opened the bag. There was Chippy, still alive but stunned. Since the bird was covered with dust and soot, she grabbed him and raced him to the bathroom, turning on the faucet, and held Chippy under the running water, then realized that Chippy was soaked and shivering. She did what any compassionate bird owner would do. She reached for the hair dryer and blasted the pet with hot air. Poor Chippy never knew what hit him. A few days after the trauma, the reporter who initially written about the event contacted Chippy's owner to see how the bird was recovering. Well, she said, Chippy doesn't sing much anymore. He just sits and stares. It's hard to see why. Sucked in, washed up, and blown over. That's enough to steal the song from any southern heart. Okay. Can you relate to Chippy? Most of us can. 1 minute you're seated in familiar territory with the song on your lips. Then the pink slip comes. The rejection arrives. The doctor calls. The divorce papers are delivered. The check bounces. The policeman knocks on your door. Swooped, you've sucked into a black cavern of doubts. Doused with cold water of reality and stung with the hot air of empty promises. The life that had been so calm is now stormy. You are a hellstorm by demand, assault by demand, plumbed by questions, and somewhere in that trauma you lose your joy. Somewhere in the storm you lose your song. Ever found yourself in a storm of life? If so, if Chippy's story is your story, then I'm glad you picked up this book. I wrote it With you in mind, I wrote it because there is a day in the life of Christ that you need to know about. Aside from the crucifixion, the most stressful day of his life, roaring sequence of bad news, demanding crowds, and doubting friends. 24 hours in which Jesus faced the same gay force fear that you and I face. Waves of pressure slim, winds of anxiety blown, clouds of darkness blurred. Yet, though it was Jesus' remain calm, he endured the days without losing his song. I like to help you see how he did it. First, we consider the stress of demand. Jesus handled 12 hours of chaos. What did he do to keep his cool? What did he know that gave him strength? If your days are booked in and deadlines and chucked it all frustration, then you'd like this section. The second section is the entitled Storm of Doubt. Have you ever found yourself in a storm and wonder why Jesus doesn't pull you out? The disciples did. While Jesus went up on the mountain, they went out to the sea. The storm came, their boats bounced, and they were left with long nights of fear and long list of questions. Jesus knows we're in the storm. Why doesn't he come? Sound familiar? The final section of the book deals with the third source of anxiety, the string of failure. In the twilight hours of the night, we discovered a sweet story of grace. Peter attempts to walk on water. What begins as a step of faith ends up as a belly flop of fear. If you ever wonder what God does when we fail, then read this section and allow the hands that saved Peter to touch you. Storms comes, they come quickly. They pounce fiercely. If you are in one, then you know what I mean. If you're not in one today, you know as well as I do, one may be in tomorrow's forecast. My prayer in this book will leave you better prepared. My prayer is that you find some words, some story, some verse, or some thought that will convince you that he is very near. I pray that as you read, you will be reminded the same voice that stills the rage on the Sea of Galilee can still the storm in your world. Read on, my friends, and assure he is closer than you've ever dreamed. And that's so true. God is right here with us. He never leaves us. You might think that he's not answering a prayer, but he answered it on his time, not your time. But God loves you. I love you. But God loves you a lot more, and he's there for you. Remember that. You need him. Just call on his name, and he's there. But I hope you all enjoy this book as I'm reading it. I hope you come back every day and listen. I'm sorry I'm not very good at reading, but I try my best. That's what I want to do. I think God leads me there. So you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you starting next week. Bye, everybody.
I have walked through the darkest valley. I was lost, couldn't find my way. But then I heard him from within, he who died for my sins. He spoke my name, then I saw his face.